house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes. The house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. I've been practicing this good too. A little bit. Did I rush you? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Easy Bets podcast. I'm your host, Logan, and with me in the studio, Nick Von Brick.
What up?
With us on the ones and twos, Bam is back with us once more.
Yo, yo.
Episode 213, hit the like and subscribe button. We are on to the National Championship and the Divisional Round of the NFL playoffs. And then there were two. It's been a long season. One game left, Ohio State, Notre Dame. The stage is set. I'm riding my futures bet that we placed in the early look-ahead episode months ago. So I'm feeling good. I like my chances. We got a lot to dive into before we get to a recap and then give you our best bets. A lot of good games. An incredible football weekend in terms of Sunday. You're going to have the Ravens and the Bills, and then you're going to turn right back around on Monday, and you're going to have the National Championship. So a lot to look forward to, a lot of money to be made. Hit the like and subscribe button, episode 213. A lot's happened since we last recorded. The coaching carousel is starting to ramp up. You saw Mike McCarthy's name is being tossed around for the Saints.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mike McCarthy?
So I wouldn't be disappointed if we hired him. I think he's a decent coach. I mean, he's been in the NFL for a long time. Was Mickey Loomis the GM that long ago when he was a quarterback's coach for us?
I doubt it.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I wouldn't hate it if we got Mike McCarthy, but I wouldn't love it. It's not a flashy hire. I would like to get younger. I would like to get more. He seems very vanilla. He doesn't seem like a state-of-the-art type of play caller. He's kind of done it his way for a while. But Mike McCarthy was much more respected in Green Bay. He was viewed as a much different coach than he is now in Dallas. And I think in large part that's because he's under the shadow of Jerry Jones, and everything's kind of highlighted if you don't win because the Cowboys haven't won shit since I've been alive. So it's all kind of magnified when you're in Dallas, and then Jerry Jones doesn't really take any of the blame, and he kind of has all the say-so. So Mike McCarthy's kind of gotten this reputation of being a big, dumb idiot, basically. But if you remember Mike McCarthy in Green Bay for quite a while there, he was one of the more respected head coaches in the NFL. I think it would bring some stability. But I would like to get younger. I would like to go find the next Sean McVay. Go find that guy. Not that they just grow on trees because they keep trying to hire whoever's ever worked for him in any capacity, and it's not really working out. But I don't know. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't love it.
It seems like head coach play callers are do pretty decent, you know?
Yeah, but
like who's one head coach play caller that really sucks, you know?
Well, he wasn't calling the plays when they had Kellen Moore, and then he was calling the plays to start this season, and then they took play calling duties away.
He took them away from himself?
I'm assuming Jerry would have made the decision there, but I could be remembering that wrong. But I thought I remembered that, or maybe he took play calling duties, one of the two. I thought he either got it taken away or he took it away from whoever it was. But I know it was Kellen Moore for a while. He's now in Philly, right? But what was your question? The head coach play callers who do well?
Yeah, I just thinking even if we go get a younger guy, I think you want, or at least I want a head coach / play caller.
Yeah, I would as well. I mean, McVay is going to call the offense. LaFleur calls the offense. Zach Taylor in Cincinnati calls the offense.
Shanahan.
Yeah. All of the young gun offensive-minded head coaches call their own plays, you know. I don't know of any McDaniel in Miami.
I'm just like wondering if there's any that really kind of shit the bed, you know. I feel like all the teams that suck, their head coaches don't call the plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Bears with Eberflus, he was a defensive guy. You've got, who else sucks? The Jaguars with Doug Peterson, he might have been calling the plays.
Yeah, probably so.
the Jets. Obviously, Saleh was not calling the plays. Yeah, I don't know. I would want an offensive guy, maybe just because I'm biased towards we had Sean Payton for forever, and look how that worked out. I feel like, too, if you get a young gun offensive coordinator, he's going to just go get hired somewhere, and you're going to lose him, and you're going to have to find another one. So I think it's easier to – I don't know. It all depends on the quarterback. You can rinse and repeat with offensive coordinators, just like a defensive coordinator if you have great linebackers or whatever. Like you can throw other coordinators in. We saw the San Francisco 49ers have success in a revolving door of their defensive coordinators for a few years there. I lean offensive, though. That's where I would go. Another name being thrown around in the coaching carousel is Deion Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys. I would imagine that's probably going to happen.
Where do they pick?
The Cowboys have to pick. Bam, can you pull that up? I would imagine around the 13 range, because they ended up winning some games there late. I think they got to like 9 wins, right? Just do 2025 NFL draft order.
They're picking 12th.
12th, okay. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not going to be able to get Shador, so they would have to trade Dak and probably eat a shitload of his contract and then trade, I mean, fuck, a lot, probably. Because who's got the first pick? Titans. And they're going to want Shador. They suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do.
I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of GMs that aren't big believers in either one of the top quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't necessarily I can see where that's coming from. I was very skeptical of Sanders for quite a while, and then you saw some of the things he was doing, and it was like, okay, he's pretty fucking good. But some of that stuff that he was doing, I don't know how it'll translate to the NFL, where everybody's faster, and he does hold on to the ball too long.
Yeah.
He takes a lot of sacks, can't do that. And then Cam Ward, I don't know what to make of Cam Ward, because that nonchalant shit and all of that, it's like, are you going to continue to do that? I think Shador would have a better chance of having a career than Cam Ward. What about you?
Yeah, I agree.
But, yeah, I don't know that.
But I think they're both kind of the same where,
I've always said, too, I
hang
don't.
on to the ball.
Yeah.
Like in the NFL, we've seen it this year with Caleb Williams not being able to adjust.
Or Deshaun Watson refusing to get the ball out.
It's like if you're not getting the ball out quick,
Sam Darnold
you're
last
probably
night.
not having a bunch of success.
No, yeah, you got to – that's why they check from snap to throw. Like they keep track of that. Like you want to get the ball out as quick as possible. You have all-world playmakers on the outside typically. Yeah, I don't I've said a million times that when it comes to those second-generation athletes, I don't want them, to be quite honest, because I want somebody that's trying to make a name for himself. Shador Sanders has had $1 million watch on his wrist his entire college career. It's like Bronny James. He was never going to be good. Michael Jordan's kid, not as good. Like when you grow up a multimillionaire and there's just not like a drive or a hunger to go do it. So you can make that same argument about Arch Manning too. So he would fall into that category. So we'll see how it pans out. But I just typically, I don't know. I try to stay. I would prefer to stay away from the second generation, all world athletes, I guess. Like you see with like Steph Curry, he's a second generation, but Del Curry was an average NBA player. He wasn't LeBron James. Okay, so so there's a faction of Buccaneers Twitter that engages with Saints fans and all of that all the time, and their whole thing is like fuck the Saints, and then they hate the Saints, they hate Lattimore, they hate everybody, and I think it's funny they want to manufacture like rivalries and all of that, and that there's a podcast over there that they do a pretty good job, one in particular, but I don't know, dude, they talk a lot of shit, so I just think it's hilarious. I wanted to congratulate the Buccaneers on a pretty good 2024 season. You came in with low expectations. Mine were the lowest. We'll gloss over the fact that you got beaten on your home field as a 3-point favorite against a quarterback that's a rookie in the league running a college offense. that couldn't run the ball at all. Other than that, it's a good season. The victory laps these people take where, like, they were celebrating relentlessly the Mike Evans. Like, yeah, that's a silver lining. You'll force-fed 18 targets to Mike Evans so he could get a 1,000-yard record, and then turned right around. And the botched snap from Baker was unbelievable. Like to do that at that point in time. And then was that after the missed snap count from the center?
No, that was before.
They shit down their
yeah, they
pissed
blew
down their
it.
leg. Yeah, they should have won the game.
I mean, look, before Baker botched the handoff to whoever came in
I
motion.
think it was McMillan.
That fourth down, there was pass interference that they didn't call in the end zone on the tight end coming across. David interfered with him.
Oh, yeah. Talking about for
Yeah.
the Commanders. Yeah, I'm thinking Buccaneers. Yeah, without question. Yeah, he held him. He didn't let him get out of his
But then the Buccaneers start moving the ball, and then they do that. And then later in the game, where the game is they're down 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they have it on 3rd and 1. I don't even know what they were trying to do there.
Was that the motion? The fake or the motion he was going to fake
No,
it
it
to
was
him
the one where the center snapped the ball.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It seemed like they were trying to hand. I was like, I could have swore they would be sneaking in that situation.
So Dan Orlovsky did like a breakdown of it, and you can hear him like, it was like a dummy call. They were trying to get him to jump, but they were going to run a play. It looked like they were just going to run off the right side.
Yeah.
But yeah, as he gets the ball in his hands, he says HUD again. Like, so it was clearly the center just snapped it at the wrong time, and it fucked everything up, which was a huge turning point because they had to settle for the field goal and tie it 20-all. The last, like, you had a lot of Buccaneers fans like come out of hiding when Tom Brady went there as like a mercenary and they ended up winning a Super Bowl. It was impressive. But they feel like this gave them some sense of relevancy or something. And that they love to say, like, the NFC South runs through us. That's like bragging about riding shotgun on the fucking short bus. Like, that doesn't mean anything. You get to go into the first round of the playoffs and lose to Jaden Daniels, a rookie quarterback running a college offense. They ran an option to the right side. They were literally running a college offense, could not run the ball whatsoever. And you lost 3-point favorites on your home field. So congratulations on a 2024 season, you fucking clowns. Oh, Jason Kelce. Did you see what he said on ESPN?
No.
So before the game, ESPN did their little they were giving out their best bets for the game. So Jason Kelce said, I'm going with Matthew Stafford 2+ touchdowns because that's what they told me to say. And they go, Ryan Clark goes, I'm taking Kyron Williams over 80 yards, not because that's what they told me to say. Like, so they're telling Jason Kelce, you need to take this bet. You need to say you're taking this bet. If you're going to ESPN, or if you're listening to the ESPN broadcast for betting advice, you're probably a lost cause, and there's no helping you. I could point you to a million different directions where you could find better advice, where to place your money. Do not listen to anybody on ESPN's broadcast advertising for ESPN Bet. Do not listen to them where they tell you to place your money because they don't want you to win, and they're not going to tell you good bets. Even if those bets hit, Jason Kelce is not giving out that bet. That was a Freudian slip. He just let you know that they are telling him what to say. Don't listen to him. I thought that was wild.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is take advice from people that know football but don't know how to bet football.
Yeah, two completely different things.
I'm sure there's probably none of those guys are actually making those bets they're giving out.
Fuck no. No. Definitely not. I mean, that, like I said, he just let you know that he's not.
I'd rather take a bet from somebody that doesn't know anything about football and just guesses. Because they'll probably be right more times than someone that knows about football but doesn't know how to gamble on it.
Yeah, there's two completely different things. You can know football, you can think you know football, and like there's a lot of people that will just look at the Commanders beating the Buccaneers, but they won't pay attention to how it happened, how lucky, how fortunate they were. But like you said, there was the pass interference, no call, and there's so many different intricacies throughout the game that have an outcome on what happens. So, I just thought that was interesting. Like he lets you know in real time.
Yeah.
Like, don't listen to us. Don't listen to me. I think it's, like I said, if you're one of the people that are going to the ESPN broadcast before the game and waiting for that segment so you can figure out who to bet, you're a lost cause. So there's nothing we can really do for you at that point. But all right, episode 213, we're going to get into a quick recap. Hit the like and subscribe button. Like I said, the national championship stage is set. But how we got there was in the form of Notre Dame taking on Penn State. Notre Dame won 27-24. I was on the under 45.5. You were on the first half under 22. This was unfortunate because, I mean, it was good for you. 13 points scored. There was a field goal right there at the end of the first half. So basically 10 points scored in the first half. Only 7 in the third quarter. So there was 20 points scored. And then there was 31 points scored in the fourth quarter, and our under did not hit. I don't really understand how it happens where these teams go for so long without scoring, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we can't stop anybody anymore. It is what it is. It went. The first half under was a very good bet, but it pretty much went exactly how I was expecting it to until the very end when it went to shit. So, I mean, do you have any main takeaways other than Aller sucks?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get a little bit more into it when we break down the national championship, but not a good start for Notre Dame, right?
Not a good start as in the game
They didn't
itself?
start the game
Oh,
well.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
They couldn't have started worse.
Yeah. So yeah, next game, we had Ohio State and Texas. I was on Ohio State 5.5-point favorites. You were on the under 53.5. Both hit. We can definitely call a spade a spade. Ohio State was fortunate to cover the 5.5, although in large part they were in control for the majority of that game. And then they just kept kind of self-inflicted wounds, were shooting themselves in the foot. Travion Henderson with the personal foul penalty to back them up out of field goal range. I felt like I would have been very frustrated if Ohio State did not win that game with the futures bet that I have, obviously, but let alone cover. It was exactly kind of what I expected from Texas on the offensive side. They played great defensively, and they answered the question that the secondary is the real deal. It's as advertised. They did a great job on Jeremiah Smith, only allowed, I think, 1 catch maybe. But they only ran the ball for 58 yards on 29 attempts, 2 yards a carry. Like I said, if they're not able to run the ball, they're not going to be able to have success in this game, and they didn't. They had 2 scoreless quarters, only 14 total points. Jack Sawyer with an all-time play. Somebody that will etch his name in Ohio State history books. That strip sack running down the sideline as the whole team's running with him was an all-time college football moment. It secured the cover on the game, secured them into the national championship. A guy who's been there from the get-go, hasn't beaten Michigan. That was the whole story. Nobody will talk about the fact that he got the interception in the flat as a defensive end, dropped back into coverage, got the interception on the goal line against Michigan. That should have been the reason why they won that football game. But then the offense just failed them. But Jack Sawyer came up with the biggest play at the biggest point of the game, and Ohio State punched their ticket to the national championship. So 1-1 for me brings me to 90, 82, and 4. 2-0 for Nick. 71, 64, and 3, 15 and 6 in his locks of the week. And like I said, 1 game to go, 2 left. Ohio State taking on Notre Dame. The total sits right at around 8 points. I'm sorry, the spread is right around 8 points in favor of Ohio State. The total sits at around 45 and a half-ish. Do you feel good about it?
I do, but I'm on a not for the full game. For first half, I do feel good.
Total?
No side.
Okay. So the first question that I have written down is, what is Notre Dame's path to points?
Yeah, I think that's the reason why it's a really tough game to handicap because Notre Dame's offense isn't very good. And we've seen a little bit of money coming in on Notre Dame. This spread opened around 9.5. So, yeah, there isn't a whole lot of success other than if Notre Dame can remain good on third down like they've been the whole college playoff.
Yeah. Yeah, they were, 11-17 last game?
So it's going to be a lot of, I wouldn't expect a whole bunch of explosive plays from Notre Dame here. It's going to be like a lot of dinking and donking like they've kind of been doing, conservative.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be. Against Penn State, like I said, they ran the ball 42 times for 2.8 yards per carry. Scoring overall hard to come by until 31 fourth quarter points. They did have a 54-yard touchdown where 2 Penn State defenders fell down. Not typically always going to happen. I felt like that was a little fortunate. In my opinion, I feel like Notre Dame was fortunate to win the game as is. I felt like Penn State was in control for the majority of that game. And if Drew Aller had just a little bit of – if he gave him any bit of competent quarterback play, I think that Penn State wins that game.
But Riley Leonard didn't play well either.
No, he didn't. That's what I'm saying. If I felt like –
So it's like you could say the same thing. Like if Riley Leonard doesn't throw those 2 interceptions, then maybe Notre Dame, this game isn't even close.
Yeah. Yeah,
because the first one was really bad and the second one was even worse.
No, the second one was terrible. But, then the fact that Allard turned right back around, though, to throw that interception in that scenario right there was so bad. And he in the post-game press conference, he said he tried to dirt it at his feet. It didn't look like it at all, not even remotely. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so which way are you leaning then?
So I lean Notre Dame first half plus 5.5. I think first and foremost, Ohio State is going to have an advantage in the trenches on both sides of the ball. We kind of saw it. Notre Dame outmatched in the Penn State game. And the first half, they were really outmatched. They made some adjustments in the second half, and they were able to protect the passer, establish the run a little bit, and they really kind of slowed down Penn State from running other than late in that game. Mm-hmm. I think looking at the other side, Ohio State, we saw Texas have success stopping them offensively. They held Jeremiah Smith to 1 catch for 3 reception yards. Carnell Tate came up big, 7 receptions, 87 yards. But the Ohio State offense was only 3 for 10 on third down. The question now is can Notre Dame stop Ohio State from running the football? And how long? So that's where I kind of see it. I kind of see Notre Dame kind of start this game better than they did last week, more like they did against Indiana. And I'm just not willing to bet on Notre Dame being able to hold off Ohio State because they're outmatched in the trenches for the whole game. But I do think there's value on the first half.
Yeah, I think Ohio State survived their subpar effort, and Notre Dame capitalized off of Penn State's subpar effort, which, like you said, Riley Leonard did not play well in his own right. But I feel like Ohio State's going to do a decent job at stopping the run for Notre Dame. And then with the 10 days, it's going to be great for Love, and Price is a good running back. But I think because Texas didn't, and I understand Texas is not as good of a running football team, but what did they average? It was right around the same thing. Yeah, 2 yards per carry, 58 yards.
But honestly, they had more success running than I thought they would.
Who?
Texas.
You thought?
Yeah, I thought there was some play. I didn't expect them to have hardly any success on outside zone. I mean, I know the stats kind of look.
How many was subtracted because of yours? 18.
What the stats look like, I mean, they were stuffed a lot, but there was some times where I was like, okay, they're having more success running it than I imagined.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't come away from that thinking I didn't feel like they had much success running, but I felt like They were doing okay moving into position, and then they just couldn't guard a fucking wheel route. That was the only scores, was the wheel route to blue.
Yeah.
But I felt like the linebacker play was pretty good for Ohio State. JTT getting hurt may have opened things up because he does a pretty good job at setting the edge and kind of forcing everything back to the interior. But I think Notre Dame has a serious weak spot in their secondary in the form of Christian Gray. I think he's a liability. I don't know that they're going to be able to bracket Jeremiah Smith like Texas did and still be able to hold up on the other side, unless they have him on Jeremiah Smith and then they bracket with a safety, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's number 29. He's getting toasted consistently, and he gets a lot of pass interference penalties. This is one of those, and I mean, I feel like if there is a weakness of this Notre Dame defense, it is the run defense. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Penn State. I think they had a fucking nearly 150 yards rushing in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they finished with 200.
But they were able to kind of slow it down, especially in the third quarter.
But it was right at the end of the first half. They had that 15-play, 90-yard touchdown drive. And that was when, I don't know that so Aller threw it 1, 2, he threw it 2 times on that 15-play, 90-yard touchdown drive. You had Katron Allen for 20 yards, 2 yards. Tyler Warren run for 12 yards, run for 9 yards. Singleton run for 10 yards. Aller ran for 5. Katron Allen runs for 8, 5, 3. So they just were kind of – that was where I was like, okay, Notre Dame's not going to have a shot if they're going to allow them to do that again. So, but yeah, so they did a better job of containing that.
Yeah, and I texted you. I thought – the pre-snap motion and shifts from Penn State were really kind of giving Notre Dame fits on defense in the first half.
Yeah, but
because I haven't seen anybody be able to outrun Notre Dame to the edge like Penn State was doing early in that game. And I was like, okay, you could tell on a lot of plays they just weren't getting lined up.
Yeah, so I think Ohio State can have a ton of success doing that, and the difference is they have all-world weapons. So Penn State, they didn't have a receiver catch a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, now you've got Jeremiah Smith, you've got Egbuka, you've got Cornell Tate, you've got the tight end Scott's good. Both running backs can catch out the backfield. I think there's way more that Ohio State can do. I'm trying not to be like clouded in my judgment because I'm sitting on the Ohio State future. So I'm essentially getting plus 450 for Ohio State just to win the game. So my sidebar question would be, do you think do I just take Notre Dame with the points and hope for a middle?
I don't know. At 9.5, I think even 10 flashed early when it opened. But,
yeah, it did.
Maybe then. But it's like the way I kind of see it is if this game isn't close at halftime, like if Notre Dame's not covering 5.5 at halftime,
then Ohio State's going to run away with it.
Yeah, they're screwed.
Yeah, I think if Notre Dame has to get outside of their comfort zone and how they want to play and what they're best at, then yeah, they're not going to have a shot. I think there's multiple routes that Ohio State can go and have success. TreVeyon Henderson's great, I don't think Judkins is bad, but at all. I think Judkins is a fantastic running back. But TreVeyon Henderson, when you give him the ball, good things happen. You saw it there at the end of the first half. For Texas to allow that was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was feeling great.
Yeah.
Right before that play, and then I'm like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? Because Texas, Arch Manning fumbled.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that?
No.
So I was hoping it was a fumble because I had the under, and they were in scoring position. And then it ended up turning into a touchdown drive, so it's tied 7-7. And then one play, what was it, 76 yards, 75 yards for a touchdown with 30 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, wide receiver screen. Inexcusable that they allowed that to happen. And then Sarkisian, we didn't touch on that. Sarkisian throwing that toss play from the goal line, that was the dumbest play call I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And that's like I talked about. I think Sarkisian gets a lot of credit for being this offensive guru and all of that. What has he shown? What has he done? That was a fucking stupid play
that
call.
was a bad play call.
When he did that, and not only that, you threw it to the side that Caleb Downs was on. He was the first guy to make contact and slow and fuck everything up for him. That's the best player on the field. You should be going away from him. I just could not believe that they did that. Unbelievably stupid decision, and you get that's what you get. That's what happens. And I didn't think Quinn Ewers played terrible, but I don't think I think Quinn Ewers is just okay. Mm-hmm. And you're okay, and you're holding on. Like, don't make the big mistake. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was an inexcusable mistake from Sarkisian, and it's not really going to get talked about very much. I mean, it did. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to. He's still going to have this reputation as this elite play caller and all of that. So they were hyping it up in the broadcast, where like among his peers, they talk about his ability to script plays and all that. Well, once that goes out the window, then what? Because his situational play calling is not very good, it doesn't seem.
Yeah, they couldn't have called a worse play in that situation.
Yeah, for a team that's not even, like, that's not, your running backs aren't great. That's not the strength of your team. If it was like, okay, Notre Dame's going to give Love the ball and let him go make a play like they did where he's breaking all those fucking tackles and stretching it, like that's an all-world player. You let him go make a play.
Where was the ball? The ball was at the 1 or near the 1?
No, I think they got stuffed to like the 3. They tried to run it once, got stuffed to the 3, and then he got antsy and he didn't want to fucking stick with it. So he decided to get cute and try to get to the edge.
Yeah, that was dumb because like those type of play, you should have just run it up the middle again.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
bring Arch Manning in and run a read option. But it's like
you got to give Ohio State's defense credit. They have an incredible goal line defense. We've seen it a lot this year, and that's what I just question.
There's a higher probability to lose yards on a toss play than there is a running inside zone.
It's like when you need inches, but you line up in shotgun or the pistol. Like, I just question. Like, I can see a scenario where Ohio State wins by 30, and I would not be shocked. And it's I like Notre Dame. I like Riley Leonard. I've said it a million times. I'm trying not to be clouded with the futures bet. I just don't see a path to them. I don't think the defense is going to have enough success. They could, but if they're not going to be able to stop the run like they need to, like I said, I think that they're going to be able to pick on Christian Gray. I don't know who they're going to – I'm very interested to see who they line him up on. And are they going to try to do what Texas did with Jeremiah Smith and just put 3 people on that side and just take him out of the game, because it worked in large part. I mean, they got the touchdown at the end of the first half on a screen pass and then a scoop and score. So you had 14 points outside of that. So, yeah, I don't know. Marcus Freeman's undefeated with more than a week to prepare. That's something to certainly consider. I think Marcus Freeman's a great coach. We've been skeptical of his decisions in the past and the 10 men on the field at the goal line and things like that. But I think what he's done with this team has been fantastic. I just don't think they have to establish the run. They have to. Because Riley Leonard, some of those decisions were horrific. And he's made some bad decisions in previous games too, like in the build-up to this.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm questioning, is he going to be able to get it done if it's put on his shoulders? I don't think so. So it's going to have to be a good game from Love and Price, and I don't know, just seeing the linebackers flying around and
the other guy, I like him better than Price. Anias Williams is that his name?
Yeah, he's good too. Yeah, I think he's a freshman.
He's just like, because him and Love, Williams and Love hit that hole with a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Price is a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that late in the Penn State game, it was like I was surprised they kept going to Price late in that game.
Yeah, but you got Tyleek Williams in the middle of the D-line plugging that up, and he does a really good job at stuffing the run. And then just with the defensive ends, I'm assuming Tui Molau is going to be fine. He got his ankle banged up. He was running on the sidelines trying to come back in. I think he did eventually come back in. So that shouldn't be much of an issue there. Yeah, I mean, so I don't disagree with the first half number or go in the first half route too, because I think Notre Dame's going to try to play. They're going to try to limit possessions and not let the game get away from them too quick. They're going to try to kind of sit on the ball and play slow, I think. And the defense is good. There's going to be – you're going to possibly get the Will Howard nerves in the beginning. We'll see if we see a mistake. Typically when he makes the mistakes, they happen early. Mm-hmm. So – but, yeah, I just don't know – I think Ohio State's going to be able to do a good enough job at stopping the run, so I don't know where they get their offense from outside of that, you know. I don't think anything that Riley Leonard showed you inspires hope. And also, too, kind of like what we did with Texas's defense, I was looking at the same thing for Notre Dame's defense. Like, when you look at the best offenses that they played, not really anybody, you know. Like, if we pull it up. Let's see. They played USC, who put up a pretty big number on them. So they played A&M, Purdue, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Army, USC, Virginia, Navy, Stanford, Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois, and that's it. Other than Indiana.
Playoff,
yeah. So Indiana, best offense they played. Louisville, USC.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Indiana, Louisville, and USC.
Yeah, I mean, USC scored 35, Louisville scored 24, Indiana 17. They did great against Indiana, I understand. But that, like we said, with the Love touchdown run, that could have looked a lot different. You got Georgia with no weapons and a backup quarterback. So I question – it's the same thing. I have the same question for Notre Dame as I did with Texas, you know?
Yeah. I think you still have to, though, question Will Howard.
Yeah, he wasn't –
He's average.
But their weapons are not. So
yeah, I know.
And
like
I think he just needs to be
had an
average.
above-average quarterback.
Oh, if they had even like a Justin Fields, like when he was in college, like, yeah, if they had any of their quarterbacks pre-Kyle McCord, even if they had Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
So, but that's all he has to be is average, and just don't turn it over. I think the defense is going to be able to do a good enough job. Like, do you expect, like, because I think on offense, I think they'll be able to establish a little bit of the run. And then if they can, it's going to open up so much more. And I would imagine that they're going to use Will Howard running the ball more as well. They have not really used him.
Yeah.
He ran it a lot at Kansas State. He hasn't ran it hardly at all since he's been with Ohio State. So this is it. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of those wrinkles put in, and you're not going to have a lot of that on tape because he hasn't really done anything. So I think that they could throw Notre Dame some looks that they haven't really seen on that they can go scout, I guess. I just don't know how they fucking stop him. I don't. And it's a combination of I don't know how Notre Dame has a ton of success either. So, I mean, are you expecting them to come out and establish the run?
I wouldn't be surprised if they have enough success to
or you're expecting Riley Leonard to play better?
Yeah, I think he's capable of playing better. At one point, like, you know, early in that game, it was like, well, okay, what the hell is going on? Then he hits his head. The backup comes in and goes 6 for 7 and leads them
to
their first points of the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, you texted. You were like, that kind of – it's crazy that the backup had to come in to show them that that's Penn State's weakness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been talking about that all year too, that you can throw in that Penn State secondary, but they just didn't attempt it.
Yeah.
And there's clearly – you got Burke and Igbinosun. You've got – the weak links are in the secondary for Ohio State on the outside. The safeties are great. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which route.
It's going to come down to, like, Denbrock's going to have to call, like, an incredible game for them to even
it just feels like they're going to have to get like a trick play. They're going to have to get something like huge momentum shifter type play, whereas it just feels like Ohio State has to not fuck up.
Yeah.
They have to not shoot themselves in the foot because the weapons are there. Find a way to get Jeremiah Smith the ball. There's no way that they're – and if they're going to take him away with 3 people, then throw it to the other guys. And I think that's what we're going to see. Like I said, I'm interested to see what they do with Christian Gray. Is he going to be part of that bracket on Jeremiah Smith if they go that route? If not, if he's on an island, I don't expect it to go very well. I really don't. So I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do because I have the futures bet. And I really think it would be smart to – I think it would be smart, full transparency, just like what I'm considering, is to put down what I put down on Ohio State. And then if they can cover, if Notre Dame does cover the number, then I just get a little bit extra on top of that futures bet. And then if Notre Dame shocks the world, then I'm out and I'm still going to be fucking pissed. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a reason I'm not taking the full game.
Yeah, the logic behind it makes sense. Yeah, if it's not a close game at halftime, if Ohio State's up 14 points going into half,
or even
they're going to beat the
touchdown.
fucking brakes off of them. Yeah, Notre Dame's not going to claw back into it.
They would need some serious turnover luck in the second half if they're down a touchdown at halftime. But
I'll just lay it with Ohio State. I don't like I said.
I do get a little worried because even this year, the favorites have performed really well in the college football playoff, with the exception of a couple games.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, if this trickles down to a 7, I legitimately would throw everything I just said out the window, and I would bet a lot more on Ohio State.
The past every year we've recorded the podcast, the favorite in the national championship has
beat the shit
not
out of it,
only
yeah.
won but and covered, but really blew them out. So
yeah, I'm gonna just lay the 8. I'll lay the 8. Like I said, if this does go down to a 7, though, that is a full go, and I think that'd be crazy to give if it touched 7. It probably will not.
The look-ahead line had it at 7.5 before Ohio State beat Texas.
Yeah.
And then when it actually opened, it was 2 points higher, 9.5, with some 10s at certain places. But it held up for a little while. It wasn't like it got hit at open. And then I think yesterday it came down to 8, 8.5.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be sharp people on either side. Yeah, we'll see. That's the beauty of it. We're going to find out what happens. Either Notre Dame's going to shock the world or Ryan Day's finally going to break through and get one. There's just so much ins and outs of who's going to make the mistake. That's why you got to play the game. That's why it's the best. So I'm feeling good with my futures. Like I said, I gave one team to win. Wasn't a long shot by any means, but it's looking like it might have been the right side. But we will find out on Monday. We'll recap our weekend in the NFL and then give you our best bets for the divisional round. To recap, though, I am taking Ohio State -8, and you are going
Notre Dame first half plus 5.5.
Okay. All righty. So in the wild card, started it off with the Chargers and the Texans. A square bet by me taking the Chargers. It was. You had the first half under 22. No, sorry. You had the over 42.5, and this was not looking good. Sitting at 16 points in the first half. We were actually at the Scarlet Pearl on the coast, and we hit a substantial live over because the number was so low. So we not only did we hit that, the full over hit as well. Scoring definitely opened up in the second half like we expected to happen. You had, I think, 28 points scored in the second half. The real topic of discussion here, though, is that Justin Herbert played like shit.
Yeah, they early in the game, they were kind of establishing the run, and they ended up scoring on their first 2 drives, I think, had to settle for field goals. And then after that, it's like they couldn't run the ball at all. No. And that's kind of why I leaned the over here, is because I thought both of the teams were going to be able to run the ball well. And then it really took the Texans forever to really open it up because Mixon was held in check for the first half, and then it really wasn't until the second half that he kind of exploded.
Yeah, Lab McConkey had an incredible game. 9 catches, 197 yards, and a touchdown. But Justin Herbert, 14 to 32, 242 yards, a touchdown, and 4 interceptions. I understand one was tip ball, but some of the decisions, the interception to Stingley down the right sideline was an underthrow on the run, just a bad ball. You threw across your body trying to go to Quentin Johnston in a double coverage on the left side. Just really poor decisions from a guy that's been in the league for quite some time. He puts up big numbers year after year, but 0-2 in the playoffs. You blew that big lead against the Jaguars a couple years back, 27-7 lead going into halftime. I felt like they had the edge at quarterback. I felt like, and I was wrong. C.J. Stroud just did what he had to do, didn't ruin the fucking game for his team. Justin Herbert, who doesn't have any weapons, I understand, but neither did the Texans really. They're very similar teams. That's why I felt like with the way it the number being where it was, but a road favorite. It was just a square play, a square start to the weekend. After that, we had the Ravens minus 9.5. They were in control for pretty much the entirety of this game. The Steelers, I think, scored all their points in the third quarter. A scoreless fourth quarter. But Ravens handled business. 28-14 win. The Steelers stink. Russell Wilson didn't play terrible, but the offense is just so vanilla. It looks like they had no sense of urgency. Najee Harris ran for 17 yards. The Steelers might blow it up, if I had to guess. I would imagine you're not going to run it back with Tomlin and just keep going around and around we go. I would imagine there's rumors going out that Pickens might be on the move. I don't really know what they do. You can keep doing the same thing and say you won 10 games and you made the playoffs and live in this perpetual cycle that they're in, but I don't know why you'd want to. But Ravens cover the number there, so we got a winner under our belt. Next game was the Broncos and the Bills. A lot of people were on the Broncos. It was funny to see all throughout the Twitter sphere that were thinking that Bo Nix and Sean Payton, a rookie quarterback, were going to march into Orchard Park and beat the Buffalo Bills. They did not. 31-7, they got the shit kicked out of them. They didn't score in the second, third, or fourth quarter. Sean Payton looked like he was running clock for the majority of the game. It was interesting to see. Josh Allen was 20-26, 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. James Cook, 120 yards on the ground and a touchdown himself. Easy win, no sweat. Bills handled business. Our lock of the week was the Packers plus 4.5. This one was incredibly frustrating. The Eagles won 22-10. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions. They fumbled the opening kickoff, which was a controversial result because it looked like Keyshawn Nixon got the ball back. It looked like he pretty clearly got the ball back. It was 22-10. Saquon Barkley could have broke a 75-yard touchdown. He decided to slide down, so it could have been worse. The Packers did everything that they could to lose this game. Shot themselves in the foot, turned it over 4 times. Extremely frustrating. They missed a field goal. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong, and they were not ready to play. So this may be a case of like 1 year too soon, and they might be contenders next year. And I'm interested to see. There's rumors already. So of course, the rumors are going to stir up quite a bit in the coming weeks. They're talking about maybe T. Higgins to Green Bay. That would be huge for Green Bay. That's like what they're missing. You throw him in a wide, like a true number one. They have a bunch of really good receivers, like a bunch of quality guys. No true number one. If you throw him in there, that'd be a problem with Dobbs and Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks and and Kraft at tight end. That'd be serious. We were head-to-head on the Commanders and Bucks. We were also head-to-head on the Vikings and Rams. We split there. I got the Commanders +3. We touched on it a little bit. The Buccaneers absolutely pissed down their leg when it mattered most. It was an interesting offensive game plan. I didn't really feel like – the Commanders could not run the ball at all. They had 82 rushing yards. Jaden Daniels led the way with 36 yards. But it is remarkable Jaden Daniels' ability to not melt under pressure.
Yeah, he played phenomenal.
It's just
other than that one play,
he's just so poised
that he missed the touchdown in the flat. This might have been the drive where they ended up failing on 4th down, or it was the one before that.
Yeah,
you know which one I'm talking about?
No, but I know
The
about
tight end leaked into the flat, and he was open, and Jaden Daniels just held it way too long, and then he threw it late at his feet.
Yes. Yeah, no, he had him. And I think he had Diaby kind of in his face, but not really. And I think he put too much stock into that where he should have threw it. It was there. But outside of that, the red zone play calling was fucking horrific. I hate Kingsbury. I think Kingsbury's a dumbass. Bam, you got to stop doing that. You don't hear the ice hitting the thing over and over again. Yeah, ringing the fucking dinner bell. I think Kingsbury's a moron. I hate the red zone play calling. It was honestly making me want to pull my hair out the entire game. But Jaden Daniels' ability to stay poised under pressure, it's the complete opposite of Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
The complete opposite. And also, too, dude, that deep ball he threw to start the game, just a perfect throw. It's exactly what he did at LSU. Anytime he throws a deep ball, it's like a moon ball, too, and it's on the money. It's remarkable. He was 24-35, 268 yards and 2 touchdowns. But like I said, the offensive output from the Commanders was nothing to write home about. Zane Gonzalez doinked in a winner, a bank shot to advance in the playoffs and send the Buccaneers on a short drive back home.
What were they on conversion downs? They had to be pretty damn good.
The Commanders?
Yeah.
They were 8 of 15. 3 of 5.
Yeah, because they dominated time of possession here. If you look, the Buccaneers had 6.5 yards per play.
Yeah.
And that's a lot for the NFL.
Yeah.
So they just didn't hardly have the ball the whole game.
Yeah. Time of possession, 35 minutes for the Commanders. So I got the win there, and then I got the loss with the Vikings, -1. My God, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, in a span of a week, lost himself probably $30 million. Sam Darnold was back to his old ways, seeing ghosts, and football is a team sport, but this really felt like the only issue for the Vikings was Sam Darnold. Underthrowing, throwing behind his guys, missing wide open receivers, holding on to the ball way longer than he needed to. You could go back and look at nearly every single sack that Sam Darnold took. There was a guy open if he would have just got rid of the football. Happy feet in the pocket. It was about as bad a performance as you could see when you take into account last week with the Lions to this week. That 2-game stretch is going to cost Sam Darnold a lot of money. I would imagine the Vikings are going, thank God we got that out of the way now. You're going to hear all the Vikings fans talking about how J.J. McCarthy was on the trade block, and now all of a sudden he's going to be the savior of the fucking franchise. J.J. McCarthy's not going to be good, but that's a story for another day. Sam Darnold, though, 25 of 40, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think he got sacked 10 times. I would say 7 or because he held on to the ball.
Yeah.
The Rams' defense is good. Don't get me wrong. Jared Verse is an incredible. I think he made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. We knew how good he was at Florida State. Fisk in the middle. They got a
lot of guys on the D-line.
Yeah, Turner. But this was – I don't get Kevin O'Connell because they were having success running the football. I literally tweeted it out. I'm like, does he just get bored? Does he think running the football is boring so he goes away from it? Like, we want to throw the ball and we want to have fun. I don't understand. But it quickly became apparent that Sam Darnold was not going to be able to get the job done. They had a golden opportunity where they were getting the ball at halftime. They could have drove down and scored a touchdown, turned right back around and tied the game up. And I think that was when he threw the interception on the right sideline. So, yeah, I don't feel sorry for people like that. Like, a lot of people are like, man, fuck Sam Darnold. Like, I invested my money in Sam Darnold. It's like a racehorse. The racehorse goes out and fucks up and hurts his leg, they shoot it in the fucking head.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we need to do anything like that to Sam Darnold, but fuck him. I'm not going to feel bad about him when we're in the press conference. Oh, poor guy. He cost himself money. Fuck
Darnold's done.
I don't know who's going to take him.
The clock struck midnight.
Maybe the fucking Falcons will take him, you stupid schmucks. He went right back to his old ways. He did a really, really good job of pulling the wool over everybody's eyes for 14 weeks. But a lot of those games were close wins, and yeah, I don't know. I wasn't super impressed with the Vikings defense, specifically in the first half, and then as the Rams are just trying to chew clock at that point, it looks like they had a little bit more success, but I don't know. I was very frustrated watching this game. So I go 3-3, brings me to 52, 64, and 1, 6 and 13 of my locks of the week. I'll say it quick, so hopefully nobody can hear it. You went 4-2, 31, 37, and 1, 6 and 13 in your locks of the week as well. We can't pick a lock to save our life. It's been a tough year in the NFL. It really has. It's not the year that we're accustomed to having. It's the same old song and dance I'm going to give you every week. It's been a bad fucking year. We should be having a better year. But we're not going to have a better year, but we can have a better week. Starting it off with the AFC divisional playoffs. Texans and Chiefs. Chiefs are 8-point favorites at home. Total sits at 41.5, 42-ish. Always give or take about a half point. We'll get the best number possible. Which one's your lock?
Probably Rams, Eagles.
Rams and Eagles is your lock, really?
Yeah.
It's my lock, too. Would you look at that? Just like last week. That went well. All right, Texans and Chiefs. I'm going to go – so I got 42.5. Only thing out right now is 42, so I'm going to go under 42.
Where the hell is my pen?
You want to use mine? Yeah. Do you really? I was not impressed with Stroud. Neither one of the teams, Texans or Chargers, looked good for the majority of that game. They ended up kind of wearing them down, and Mixon had success in that second half, and we saw some more points get scored. But I didn't think the Texans looked very good. But the defense did. They were able to get after the quarterback. The Chiefs are rested. They're at home, out in the elements. I just don't see a ton of scoring in this one. We saw these two match up earlier in the year. Kansas City handled business 27-19. Texans were hanging in that one, but that was the week that Tank Dell got hurt. And I'm going to be honest, I just don't think the offense is as good with Tank Dell not on the field. He's not a big name, but he was a productive wide receiver. So I think the Chiefs are going to have the ability to slow the Texans down here. I think that Houston will be able to dial up. I trust DeMeco Ryans in his ability to dial up timely blitzes and get after the quarterback and just kind of slow things down for Kansas City here. It's not a high number, but we're still going to go under 42. What are you taking?
I'm going Chiefs. -8. Dome team going to play in the cold. It's going to be high at 27 with temps dropping as the sun sets. Possible winds up to 20 miles an hour. So I think the Texans' path to success on offense here is very small, you know. So
yeah.
I like the Chiefs coming off a bye. I think they play like a different team in the playoffs, to be honest. So
they
Kansas City Chief -8.
Yeah, they certainly do. It's like I say every year. Mahomes is a terrible regular season quarterback. Bottom 5 regular season quarterback. Then he's the best quarterback in the world when the playoffs roll around. Alrighty, so I'm going under 42. You're going Chiefs -8. Is that the best available? Okay. Second one, Saturday night. Commanders taking on the Lions. Lions are 9.5-point favorites. The total sits at 55. Do you feel good about this one?
Kinda.
Side or total?
I guess the 10's gone.
You laying it? You're taking it.
No, I wanted to take Commanders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you want but
it's 9.5 now.
Okay.
Mother.
Okay, so hear me out. You can hop on mine because if you're leaning Commanders, you're not leaning Commanders because of the defense.
No.
We're going over 55. Lions are at home and rested. Jaden Daniels' ability to thrive under pressure, like I just touched on, is remarkable. Washington's defense is grading out 29th out of 32 by Pro Football Focus metrics. Lions' defense is not good either. Don't let them fool you. What you just saw them do to the Vikings was not because the Lions' defense is good. It's because Sam Darnold fucking sucks. So there's going to be points. I was not blown away by the red zone offense from the Commanders, but Jaden Daniels is very good. Jaden Daniels is built for every situation. He's proven it time and time again. It's going to be a serious environment to go in. But the Lions' offense is a juggernaut. They're going to put up whatever number they want. They can put it up on the scoreboard. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be able to do enough with the Commanders' offense to kind of hold their own. You're going to need the Lions to carry the legwork, but this is a high number for a reason. We're going over 55.
Yeah, I'm just going to go.
Are you still looking for your pen?
Yeah.
Just take it.
I need that pen. That pen's right when I started writing with that pen, everything turned around. This isn't good. But yeah, I'm gonna go Commanders plus 9.5, I guess is the best number available. the Lions defense, 29th ranked passing defense in the NFL. I think we see Daniels do it again. I think he can.
Does he win the game outright?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if they upset him.
Really?
No, I wouldn't.
Calling your shot.
I wouldn't. I think out of all the top teams, the Lions are the most vulnerable here this week.
This week or going forward?
No, this week.
Okay, I was gonna say because their offense is pretty fucking
I guess the
incredible.
number one seed. Like the even though the spread's bigger, I think the Lions are way more likely to lose to the Commanders than the Texans are to upset the Chiefs. Does that make sense? Or do
Yeah,
you
I would agree with. I don't think the Texans have much of a chance to beat Kansas City. Just with how this season has gone and how down I've been on the Texans, I would be shocked. Let's put it that way. If they marched into Kansas City and took down Mahomes, I'd be shocked.
Find it.
Yeah, I mean, where could it have gone? Yeah, I'm going over 55.
I just had it here.
I think, I think this Lions defense is susceptible. So, and I think the offense is incredible. You name the number, they can put it up on the scoreboard. So Rams and Eagles is going to be my lock. Yours as well.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we'll talk about the biggest game of the weekend by far. Some are calling it the most important divisional playoff matchup in the history of the league. You got two surefire Super Bowl contenders in the Ravens and the Bills. Baltimore on the road, 1-point favorites. The total sits at 51.5. I am sitting on an 11-1 Buffalo Bills futures bet that I've been sitting on for quite some time. And I am nervous. Which way are you going in this one?
It's just so tough, right?
This is what's so great about the NFL because you have the narratives and you have the matchups and you have the Lamar can't get it done. Neither one of these guys have been able to get it done in the postseason. Lamar got to the AFC Championship last year. Is he going to turn around and lose in the divisional playoffs? Or the Bills, who also have just kind of lived in this purgatory of postseason success, are they going to come up short yet again on their home field? My overall thoughts before we dive into it is clearly Lamar's had postseason struggles. We've seen it pretty much every year. You could throw some on the play calling last year and just the offensive game plan as a whole. And then the Bills typically do very well on their home field. Home field, I think, is a huge point of emphasis in this one.
Yeah.
I'm trying, same thing with Ohio State. I'm trying not to be clouded with my judgment because I do very, very badly want the Bills to win. Which way do you lean?
I'm going to go Bills +1 at home. It's going to be super cold. You're looking at a high of 21. This game kicks off at 5:30. The low that night's going to be 10. It'll feel colder than that. 24% chance of some snow flurries. The Ravens, they have the number one rush defense in the country. I mean, in the NFL.
Yeah.
But their pass defense ranks 30th. Mm-hmm. I think top to bottom, the Bills honestly have a more balanced defense than the Ravens. I think it's the difference here. So I like the Bills +1.
That's the way I lean. Milano being back is huge. And he's been battling injuries for years now, it feels like. But he played great last week. His ability to run sideline to sideline, I think, is going to be a key factor in shutting down Derrick Henry. It's obviously going to have to be an all-hands-on-deck effort. I was looking into Zay Flowers. It looks like he is a outside chance of playing in this game. So that doesn't sound reassuring. Him being out would be a key loss. I don't think that they were very tested by the Steelers. And then they were dealing with other injuries as well. I'm blanking on them. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Bills as well. The Buffalo Bills are 8-0 at home. They typically have a ton of success year in and year out on their home field. It's a tough place to go play in the elements. Narrative-wise, though, which I'm not betting off of narratives, but I think with Josh Allen and the Bills, they had very low expectations. If they get knocked off, it's going to be well, they exceeded what we thought that they would do. If the Ravens and Lamar lose this game, depending on how it happens, it's going to be a bad look. I mean, I know the Bills are very good, but it's like this is going to be year in and year out that Lamar continues to come up short.
Yeah.
And essentially, this is got to be your MVP decider, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they both play like shit and it's a snowball. But I mean, if it comes down, if somebody,
it's definitely going to snow there Saturday. This
Okay.
game's played Sunday though, but I think they're only expecting not even an inch of snow on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody comes out and lights it up, this might solidify their MVP trophy. So it's kind of the beauty of it is that
it'll be hard. Like if one guy shits the bed and the other guy lights it up, how would you give it to the guy that didn't play
especially with recency bias and all of that. Yeah, I don't know. I'll take Buffalo as well. I really hope the fucking Ravens get the doors blown off of them, though, if I'm being honest. But they've been playing some incredible football as of late, like what we saw them do to Houston on the road on, Christmas Day. Defensively, they've turned things around, too. They've kind of shaken up the secondary, and it hasn't been as bad. But, I mean, when you got a guy like Khalil Shakir, you can do anything on offense. So
that's true.
Hopefully,
he is incredible, man.
Hopefully, you came around, huh?
He's just so small, but they still can't tackle him.
Plays bigger than his size. Keon Coleman, though, wouldn't mind
that
him
guy's
fucking
legit.
Wouldn't mind him fucking waking up for this one. All righty. Well, let's see. Bam, what is your best bet this week? We gave you one last week. Didn't even come close. You went against us.
Well, you got me on the spot there.
I mean, you could have, like I said, you could have said, hold on. Do you want us to give you a second while we do our locks? You can come up with your best one?
I know what I'm going with.
Okay.
I'm going against Nick here.
Oh.
Yeah. Give me the line. -9.5.
Interesting.
Okay.
Dan Campbell's got that locker room hyped up, man. You can't beat.
It is going to be it's going to be a raucous environment. It's a big number, though.
It's a dome, though. It's way easier to go play in this.
But it's louder, though.
Yeah, but still, in my opinion, it's way easier to go play here than Buffalo.
Oh, well, yeah, where it's fucking snowing and 20 degrees.
Or any other places. All these places are fucking cold as fuck.
Yeah.
And Detroit is cold, too, but they put a roof on their stadium like a bunch of idiots. They could have a serious advantage here.
All righty. All that's left is our locks of the week. No such thing as a lock, but if there was...
It's a lock, Kramer. You've had this thing under control for almost 3 years now. But it's a lock.
They need that fucking juice. They need that next bet. They need... Come on. Yes! When they win, they go fucking crazy.
You're a bad motherfucker. Go in that shower and grab your fucking nuts and tell the world somebody's sniffing my fucking nutsack.
So we do 3, 2, 1?
Yeah.
I think we're on opposites. 3, 2, 1, Eagles.
Rams.
Yep, opposites. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like the Rams. I think the Eagles were really kind of fortunate that the Packers got riddled with injuries in this game.
They were. They didn't
because
look good
they
either.
didn't pass the ball very well, and that was one of the reasons why I really liked the Packers last week. Now you're going against a veteran quarterback with a ton of weapons. And then like we were talking about, I mentioned it last week, this Rams defense is underrated. Their pass rush can really get after a quarterback. So I said it last week. The Rams are a big-time sleeper. I like the Rams plus, what's the best you can get now? I had 6.5 here, but everything moves.
I think 6. I've got Philly -6. Let's see. No, you can get a 6.5.
Yeah, Rams plus 6.5.
Yeah, the way I look at it is the Rams have had a lot going on. I think Sam Darnold sucks. I think that was not so much the Rams defense. I think the Rams defense played well, but that was not all 10 sacks because their pass rush was overwhelming or their secondary was locking up. Sam Darnold was doing his shit where he's seeing ghosts again because there were people open. The Rams had to relocate to Arizona from the fires, and it was a whirlwind, a lot of shit going on. Now you got to go all the way across the country to go play Philly at Lincoln Financial Field in the elements. I think it's just a lot to ask for from a West Coast team specifically that's not used to playing in the elements. They play in a dome, and it's just great weather there to begin with. The elements of the fires, though, and having to relocate, I think, is going to be something to pay attention to, or at least add in. But I think that we're going to see more success, I think, from the Eagles offense. I'm very intrigued to see the matchup between the secondary with the Eagles and then Stafford, and obviously he does have a ton of weapons. What they can do from that standpoint. Nakobe Dean getting hurt, I don't like at all. Tore his patella tendon, so he won't be out there. They still have a ton of guys on that D-line. Zach Bond obviously playing great. I just think the defense is really good. I think the style of play that the Eagles are going to come out and I think they're going to sit on the ball and minimize possessions for the Rams. So, yeah, I'm taking Philly at home. I think that defense is the real deal. I think Philly's, even with the subpar effort and the Packers playing as poor as they did.
The Packers, though, they had serious issues on the offensive line.
Yeah, definitely.
Once their left tackle went out, it's like, okay, everybody was getting – I think it was a left tackle. It might have been a left guard. But
it was a left guard, yeah. And then they kept getting the holding penalties, and they had to switch him out. Yeah, so
who's 93 for the Eagles?
I don't even.
This guy's he was a freak, a freak of nature, and I don't even know his name. It wasn't
Milton Williams.
What's his name?
Milton Williams.
Maybe that was him. I don't know. That doesn't sound like.
He doesn't sound like somebody was wreaking havoc in the backfield.
But no, their front's pretty damn good, and their whole defense is. I just think
the defense is fantastic, and so that's what goes into it. Is I think the fact that you have to. All the shit that's going on now, you got to go all the way to the fucking East Coast, and it's a tough place to go play, like you were saying, in the elements. Is the offense going to translate out there against such a good defense? I think we're going to see them struggle, and it's going to come down to can the defense keep them in the game?
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm that much of a believer in the Rams defense. It is playing much better, and Verse is fantastic, and like we said, Fisk. But, dude, Saquon Barkley's so fucking good, and I trust that you just get him the ball and you get him out in space, and he's going to make things happen. The short yardage situations with the tush-push and all of that. A.J. Brown reading a book on basically a self-help book, so he's got good things coming.
Yeah, what was that?
They didn't need him. Read the book. Just don't go. I'd rather him read his book than get pissed.
Settled just yet when he started reading.
Yeah, a little weird, but yeah, I mean, he knew cameras were going to be on him. Maybe it's his brother's book or something.
Receivers are idiots.
They said that
weirdos.
Yeah, they're prima donnas and strange individuals. But that book went from like number 750,000 on Amazon to number 1.
Oh wow!
So it may have been his brother's book or something. But yeah, okay. So
I think the Rams' offensive line's in a little bit better condition than the Packers, and then I think the Rams honestly probably have a better defense than the Packers. So just looking, I thought the Packers had chances there last week, and I thought that the Packers' defense played pretty damn good, especially against the pass. So that's kind of why I lean the Rams here.
Yeah, I was looking at it. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Towards the end of the year, the offense wasn't exactly lighting it up. You had the 12-6 win against San Francisco, 19-9 against the Jets, both on the road, 13-9 against the Cardinals. But any game with the Cardinals, I feel like there's just zero consistency. The loss to the Seahawks, and then, like I said, I'm putting more stock, and maybe I'm not giving the defense enough credit because in all of those games, really 4 out of their last 5 games, they've allowed 9 points or less. But Sam Darnold looked so fucking bad that it was like he's imploding. It's not – maybe I'm not giving enough credit to Los Angeles' defense as I am to knocking Sam Darnold. But I think just with the style of play that the Eagles want to play, they're going to have to stop the run first and foremost. And with Hurts' ability to use his legs, now he's got – that was it. Typically, they say the first game back from the concussion is always a little tough. Second game, you see a little uptick in production. So maybe we see that here. I don't know. I just think it's a tough place to go play. And it's a tough ask from the Rams to have to go through all of that. So, but we'll see what happens. So to recap, I am taking the under 42 in the Texans and Chiefs. Taking the over 55 in the Commanders and Lions. My lock of the week is going to be the Eagles -6, and then I am taking the Bills +1 on the home field.
Chiefs -8, Commanders +9.5, Rams +6.5 for the lock, and Bills +1.
There you go. That is our best bets of the week for the NFL. Bam, your one bet is going to be the Lions -9.5. Head-to-head with Nick. Episode 213 is in the books. Do you have anything to say before we go?
Nope.
Alrighty, hit the like and subscribe button. If you are only a college football listener, this is our last episode for quite some time. We appreciate each and everybody who has taken the time out of their day to listen to the show along the way. It was a tough go for quite some time, but we got them there in the end, and we got one more left to handle business, more money to be made. Football is coming down to an end, but we got to end it on a high note. Y'all have a good one. Who dat?
The house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes. The house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. I've been practicing this, a little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.